welcome back to Work Woman. It is great to be with you. I feel like I haven't talked to you in far too long, so buckle up. Today's episode is going to be awesome. But before we get into the content, I would like to ask you for a favor. If you haven't already, please go subscribe to Work Women so that you get episodes every single week automatically downloaded to your phone. If you're a true fan, send this link to a family member, a friend, maybe a coworker, somebody who you think would find value from any of the content that's within Work Woman. Melina Cox has this big push. Right now, it is like one of our top priorities in order to grow the audience. And we want to be transparent about that with you guys. The audience of Work Women needs to grow so that we can impact more people and help people run and operate their businesses better and also be better leaders and just totally kick ass in general. So if you know anybody who falls into those categories, just send them this content. Okay, let's dive in for today's episode. We are going to get into the 5 ways to do more. The 5 ways to do more, I don't know about you, but Melina is constantly trying to figure out different hacks in order to fit more into a day. We sometimes get overwhelmed, like there's two sides, there's so many things that we want to do in the future, like, oh yeah, we want to have written a book and we want to be on a television show and we want to have developed this product line. Like there's so many things out here in like this future state. And then when you go to the second side and it's like today, present time, we're thinking with, okay, how can we squeeze more into our days in order to get stuff that just has to be done today, not even really thinking on a day-to-day basis with what needs to really be done in the future or those projects that need to start chipping away at. And we know that there's just this constant flow of new ideas that if we only had the time, that's an excuse that comes, oh, maybe in the future or someday soon we'll prioritize this. Well, the truth is your priorities for today need to be handled and you need to figure those things out. But if you are not making a real plan to get the other pieces into your workflow, they're never going to happen, and there's no time like the present in order to make those things happen. So we want to go through the 5 ways to get more done. You never know, we might throw in a 6 because we're just whirling through these things. But the first way is to surround yourself with people who are doing more. Guys, this one hit us like a ton of bricks. Last week, when you start spending time, and we don't just mean time physically present, but time with the ideas and influence of people who seemingly are doing 3 times more in 24 hours than you are. It begs the question, why am I not doing more, and what are they doing that's allowing them to get more accomplished in a shorter period of time? So the more we surround ourselves with people who are just like seem everywhere. Grant Cardone talks a lot about omnipresence, and there really are people, including him, who seem like they are everywhere. They are generating ads that are following you around all through your emails from shopping sites. Then there are books and there's webinars and there's a new challenge and there's all of these things. Like, how on earth is this person doing this? We had this like epiphany last week when we were spending time with people who have done and are doing so much more than us, that it is only in our ability to stay where we're at. It's only in our mindset around that that's keeping us from doing what we're doing. So we were already feeling this agitation, and we think we'd have Brandon on the podcast here soon so that we can talk through what we really mean by this agitation, because it's like legit. We're freaking irritated that we are not farther along. Like we're not mad, but it kind of feels like we go to bed and we're not like, oh wow, what a wonderful day to spend time with such inspiring people. We're like, God damn it, this is not where we want to be. We're not where we want to be, and we're uncomfortable and dissatisfied in those moments. And when we have those moments, normally we just like go back to work. We just like put energy and effort into the thing that we're doing in order to make a little bit more progress. And for whatever reason, we've been feeling that way. We had a big event over this weekend, and then we picked up the book Think and Grow Rich. Let us say that one more time because we just totally slurred our words. We picked up this book Think and Grow Rich for women. Now, you are just like us most of the time. When there's something that is made just for women, we kind of roll our eyes because we don't see a distinction between a men's conference versus a women's conference. However, there are differences. There's no doubt that there are differences. And as we were reading Think and Grow Rich for Women, Sharon Lechter actually shared this with us just yesterday. She handed us her book. She wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women. And she explained to us that Think and Grow Rich originally, when Napoleon Hill wrote it, he was writing an environment where men were the only people that were in business, women were not in business. And so the real life examples of women who are totally kicking ass in the workplace were not included, and the female perspective was not included in the book, so that instantly sold us. And then we turned on the book this morning after, doing a workout and feeling like we were already in it and not really wanting to add an additional set of thoughts to our morning routine. But for whatever reason, we turned it on, and all of a sudden there was just this light bulb that went off. And Sharon in the first chapter starts talking about the money intention that you have, and to the extent that you do not have a specific amount that is tied to a stated time in which you will have that much, you're not really serious about having more money, and there's a bunch of other things around that. We highly encourage you to read the book. We're at the start kind of it, but it's already been like impactful. It's already going to be something that we refer back to often. But this idea of, if we're surrounding ourselves, Sharon doesn't have to be sitting next to us in order to tell us that we're surrounding ourselves with people who are doing more and who are thinking with, okay, if we need to put this number down and need to put the time in, which we're going to do it, we have to start being that person every single day. We have to show up at the office. And when we're in those moments where we don't feel like we're being efficient or it's not the best use of our time, we need to be thinking with somebody who makes the type of money that we're wanting to make and that prioritizes their time in alignment with where we're going. And if you're not making that connection with how you're spending your time and where you want to go through surrounding yourself with people doing more than you, you're just going to feel stuck in those two worlds of this is what we want in the future. But we're just overworked with where we're at today. And we're so thankful that we had this experience of being around people who have created billions of dollars of revenue and net worth for themselves, and then listening to Sharon say, hey, wait a second, you need to put a number out there, and you need to put a date out there, and you need to act as if this is for you so that you can start making those decisions today, because those decisions will not be made tomorrow and the day after and the day after if you're not really going to start thinking with it today. So tip number 1, surround yourself with people who are doing more. It is a good sign. If you are freaking irritated, it's a good sign. Take that as a good thing. Like, live with it, sit with it until you work through what is the thing that you have to do next in order for you to get to that next level. All right. Number 2, when we're in this place of saying, okay, we need to do more, we need to condense what we're currently doing, restructure it so that we can add something else. The first place that we go is to look at where we're spending our time. So we literally pull up our calendar, and depending on how much time we're looking for, what we'll do is we'll look at either the last week, or we'll look at the week before, or maybe a full month in the past. So we can see, okay, what meetings can we pull off that are recurring? What was of value to us? What really doesn't need our help anymore? And that cycle is kind of finished. And how can we tweak things so that that can run without us being as involved? And as you're scaling a business, that's a really important skill set to learn and to nurture, is how to exit out of the things that you've put on your plate so that you can put newer things that create value onto your plate. So when we look at those past days, we really do evaluate, did this work for us? Did something move forward with it? And are we needed in the future? So then, which is step number 3, we look to the future, okay? If we know what worked for us in the past, now we're going to say, okay, what's on our calendar right now, and how do we actually move things in alignment with this new initiative that we probably need to add in order to get to this next level? If you don't actually prioritize your time for the next day, you are winging it. You are not really serious about getting more done. Everybody says, oh, we want to get more done. We want to have more time. If only we had more time. Okay, great. Create more time. You can create more time. The way that you do that is by looking at tomorrow's time. You do that is by looking at tomorrow's time, how you're going to be spending it, making hard decisions around where is the best use of your time, and making those small tweaks as you continue to get better at prioritization. Okay, number 4. This one's a hard one because we're just going through this process right now. We're going to put this out there on the podcast, and within the next 30 days, we need to have a manuscript for our book completed. And the way that we even decided to write a book was in realizing that in our future state, I have written a book, and she hasn't just written one book, she's written like multiple books. So this so perfectly aligns with the 10X philosophy, and that is in for us to get off our ass and actually write one book. We actually had to make our target writing 4 books. So we are in process at the moment of writing 4 books, but we're starting with 1 and chipping away at it and working with a publishing company and setting a target for what chapters need to be due by when. And this is going to set this whole new trajectory of ideas and things that we're looking for, and a new block of time that we need to figure out, where are we going to get this from? Where is this time going to come up with? So the 4th step really is you have to set a massive target. Like the target and the payoff for that target have to be so big that you are willing to rework things and move from being comfortable or just doing what you're doing today into this next state. We remember it was 2 years ago we set this target of writing this. Is going to sound ridiculous. We're sure it's probably still up on our blog. We set this target of writing like 5,000 words a day, 5,000 words a day, because in 10 years from that date, we wanted to be in New York. Times best-selling author in Walks, Grant Cardone, and his philosophies. And what he essentially shares is 2 of his New York Times bestsellers he wrote within. One of them he wrote in like 5 hours, and then the other one was written in 4 months, had spelling errors, typos, wrong use of punctuation. There are all these things that were wrong with it. The point was for him to write a book and put it out there. The point was not to be the perfect author and to put all this time into practicing before you actually get there. Remove time from your planning equation that is connected with setting these big targets, because if the target is so big, you're forced to condense time. We don't have 10 freaking years. And Melina, in today's state, writing 5,000 words just to be able to be ready to write a book, just needs to write the freaking book. So we're hopeful that as you're looking at, okay, we're unhappy because we need more time, but we have this goal which gets us excited. How do we make the goal, think with this for just a minute, how do you make the goal that much bigger so that you are forced, you are pulled instantly from studying, researching, thinking about it, debating, into we're reaching out, we're making this happen, and we're going to rework everything. So our 5th and final tip around this is, in order to make this happen, there will be sacrifices. You will have to eliminate the distractions that are currently pulling you off target. So for us, what this looks like, in order to get this book done in the next 30 days, that means we have to write 1 chapter a day. In order for us to write 1 chapter a day, it's really not possible for us to not work in Cardone Ventures 9 hours a day, but with those other hours that we have in the day, we could likely spend 2 to 3 hours at night in between dinner and driving home, where we are just writing a book while we are still not sacrificing 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So fully sleeping, getting a workout and working, but then adding time for something that's important to us, where that's actually going to be painful, is dinners. We go to a lot of dinners, Brandon, we take clients with us to dinner, so we're going to have that conversation with Brandon. He's going to be a fan of the long-term goal, but that's going to irritate him in the short run when he wants to be able to enjoy a dinner with our clients and to host people that also looks like 0 drinking. We're not a big drinker to begin with, but we do enjoy we've become a red wine snob very recently. Not a snob, but we just like red wine and we think we know what we're talking about, but we really don't. So we're just trying to pretend. So there will be no drinking for us between now and when we get this thing done. What other sacrifices do we have to make? There's probably 4 or 5 other things that are just not going to be fun for us to do, but are going to be required in order for us to really take a chunk of our time to push this forward. But see, when you condense time like this, we just have to sacrifice this for a month, and then in a little while longer have to do it again in order to write a longer book, and then the next one and the next one. But the massive target has really made us feel excited about that. We're like, okay, great, we can have this conversation, and a month isn't that long to be sacrificed. The other piece of that is actually sitting down and writing like who we don't know. We're not somebody who really enjoys that we get writer's block, but we get to work through it. So quite honestly, by the next time we record podcasts, our guess is that this book will be done, and we will certainly be reporting back to you guys on that. And as promised, we told you that there would be a 6th tip, and here is commit first, figure the rest out later. We do not have all the details. We know very little about this. Next chapter, no pun intended, maybe a little pun intended, about this next chapter for what this is going to look like. But we're just committed, and what we're excited to share is that we're going to be putting testimonials, people who have had success stories using this exact content. So if you want to be part of the book, you should reach out to info@cardoneventures.com. That's info@cardoneventures.com. Share your name and then a win that you've had with leading your team or growing and expanding your organization. Maybe it's even been in the interview process. And if you do this quickly, meaning like now, do it right now, turn the app off and do it right now, we're going to be taking these testimonials and incorporating them into every single chapter, because we've only shared our experiences, but you guys get to then be participative in what this content has allowed for you to do through scaling and growing your businesses or your personal life or your relationships. So we would love to hear that, and send it to info@cardoneventures.com. Just like we asked before, it would mean the world to us. If you posted this on social, shared it with a friend. This audience is very, what's the word for it? This audience, it's a silent audience. We don't see you, we don't get to talk to you. We love the interaction. So if you post it on stories, we would love to reshare it and know what part of the episode was your favorite. So until then, we hope you guys have an awesome day, and don't forget to share the content, okay?